Hi everyone, this is Mira from Mirascraftings. How is everybody doing today? Today I will be showing you how to make your own phone charm. I will let you know what supplies and tools you would need to make your own beautiful piece. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. So let's jump into it and make your phone charm. Hi, okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna show you some of the tools and things you're gonna need to do this lovely phone charm. First, we're gonna start with the tools you're gonna need. Okay, so first you're gonna need these kind of pliers, okay, with the long, right here, that's one. You're gonna need something like this. These are cutters, right, to cut your wire. And you possibly will need also this. This is more another plier, but this is a longer, flatter head. And then you're also gonna need these to I'll show you how these are used. Okay, so you're gonna need these four things. Now, you could get a whole set from any kind of jewelry or hobby kind of store. You could get them at Michael's, you could get them at Joann's, you could get them at Hobby Lobby. You could go online on Amazon and get a set of tools. Again, you don't have to get something really expensive when you first started. These tools could be very cheaply bought. Again, but just remember, you get what you pay for. So if they break on you, don't be discouraged. Just get another set. It's not a problem. They're not really that expensive. Unless you want to go for the professional sets, and they could get a little costly. But again, these are the kind of tools you're going to need to make a phone charm. All right. So I'm going to put these aside now. And you'll see later on in the video how they are used. Now you're also gonna need a few other things. Firstly, you're gonna need wire, right, to make your phone charm. Some people use wire, some people use fish line. I personally, when I first started, I used to use fish line. Just simply because it was new to me and I wasn't really sure how to use wire. But then, I asked questions, I watched videos like this to learn that wire is the best thing to use because, first of all, it's stronger and it's malleable. I'm not using very hard wire. I'll show you. This is what most of the time I will use. It's called DIY, or you could get any brand. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. Now, the size is the most important thing. You guys can see that it's 0.4 millimeter. My suggestion to you, you could go from 0.35 to 0.45 the most. I personally like the 4 because it's very malleable and it moves with the piece. It kind of looks like this. It comes in different colors. For the purposes of today, I'm going to be using this color. It's kind of like a gold and a silver because I'm going to be doing 2 pieces. I just want to show you what they would look like. But do not use anything that's more than 0.45. Then it becomes a little too stiff for phone charms. You can use them for other DIYs, but just not for making phone charms. That's just my personal preference and suggestion to you. I've been doing this for a while, and I've used all kinds of wire and different sizes, and this is really the best what works for me. Again, there's many brands. At the end of the day, it's all the same. It's all the same. You could get any brand. Just remember the size is what's important. Okay, so I'm gonna put that over here. You're also gonna need a couple of other things. I don't know how to show you this because it's very small. So I'm just gonna put this jar down here so you guys can see it. I'm gonna pick one up. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's very hard to use these things to show them. This is what we call a crimp bead, okay? They also come in different sizes. I prefer just the general size. It really doesn't matter with the color because they're gonna be inside something else called the cap. So you could use any color, but if you really want to be matching with all the colors, if you're going to use gold wire, use gold accessories. So buy yourself some crimp beads that are gold in color. Again, these are not going to be shown. They're going to be inside something called a crimp cap, which I will show you next. So it doesn't really matter that it's silver or gold. It doesn't really matter. They're very small, very hard to work with, but you know, with practice you guys can get it. For me, I remember when I first started, I literally had such a hard time using these. As you can tell, they're very small, and it was tough. But you know what, you'll get used to it like anything else, and it becomes like muscle memory. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's still, you know, I'll lose one here and there, I'll drop it. They're very, very, very tiny, so they will be dropped. And don't get discouraged, just keep trying, and eventually you'll get it. All right, so I'm gonna put this over here. That's so many things. All right, now I spoke about something called a crimp, which I just showed you. Crimp bead, it's called, what I just showed you. Now we also have something called the crimp cap, which kind of looks like this. I don't know how to, here we go. So this is what we call a crimp cap. Okay, now this crimp cap goes over the crimp bead to cover it, right? To make it like a more polished look. I don't know if you guys can see this well. Hopefully you can. All right, I'm gonna put it down. Maybe that's better. This is a crimp cap. Also comes in different sizes. For this purposes, I used the general size, which you can order again from any craft store, Joann, Michaels, Amazon. Just look up the word crimp cap, crimp beads for the other part that I just showed, and you could get like a whole bunch of them. They're really not expensive. They're very inexpensive. Again, if you're going to do this professionally, if you get to a professional level, then you could buy the more expensive, maybe gold plated, silver plated. But for this purposes, for this tutorial, I'm showing you the most general stuff that you could get at any jewelry craft store. All right, so I'm gonna move that over here. Now, you also gonna need, sorry for the noise, guys. Now, when you buy your tools, some of them come with this. This is a gauge that you could use to measure your beads in millimeters. For instance, I'm going to show you this bead right here. Now, again, this is plastic. Again, it comes with any, inexpensive toolkit. There is better ones out there that are more for experienced users, that are digital. But for your purposes right now, if you're a starter, to use something like this, and this is how you will use it. You open it up, you move it like this, up and down, move it up, and then you close it. I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to do. It's very slippery bead. And then, okay, you see it measures the bead. It'll tell you in millimeter, like this one is actually a 12 millimeter gauge bead, okay? So this is how that would work. So you put the bead in between here to measure what size bead it is. Again, as you go along, you will learn more and more. When I first started, I literally didn't know any of this, but you get used to it once you start watching videos like this. Once you watch, any YouTube, like I said, tutorials like this, you'll start to learn how and when and where to use these tools. Again, don't get discouraged, don't get overwhelmed, take it easy, take it slow. If you need to replay this video, which I've done in the past when I watch videos, I stop it, replay it, stop it, replay it, but you'll get it. That's the whole thing here. You will get it in the first piece you create, and after that, every piece, you're gonna be so happy. I did this as a mental health recuperation for me after I left a certain job that was really literally making me very, very unhappy, and it really helps. It made me feel accomplished, like I've done something. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take your wire, okay, and it usually comes like in here. You open it up, right? And then the first thing you want to do is take this tool, remember this tool, the cutters, okay, and cut this like bent wire, because it's very hard to unbend it or straighten it out sometimes. So I'll cut this, put this to the side. It's very hard to pick up sometimes. I don't have nails either. All right, and then I kind of measure like this. You see these here? Now this is how long you want to make your chain, right? So I usually go for a shorter piece for a Phonecharm. So I would do a 12 to a 12 here. Again, you can get this at any craft store. Again, Michael's, Joann's. I think I got this from Amazon actually. So this is what you would measure here, right? So 12 to 12. Okay, 12 to 12 here, but you want to double it, and I'll explain why in a second. So, okay, so once you get your wire, measured out, then you can take your cutters again and cut it. Now, this is your wire, right? So you want to double your wire when you do these Phonecharms. It makes them stronger, okay? Less likely to break on someone, because the last thing you want to do after you spend all this time doing this is for it to break on you, right? So you got your wire. Now you're going to take this right here, okay, this end right here where you join together, and then you're going to take, remember the crimp beads, these small stuff, and then you're gonna take the crimp bead and you're gonna feed that through the crimp bead. Believe me, it is very daunting in the beginning because you will drop these crimp beads all over the place, but you will get it. So you get it through here, okay, you see that? Okay, and then you drive it all the way to the end. So sorry about that, shook the camera a little bit. You see, drive it all to the way to the end. Try to get it as much to the back here as possible. Okay. Okay, you see that? And then you're gonna take these pliers, the long flat head pliers, and then you're gonna take this and you're gonna, very hard to see when you're doing this on camera, and you press down on the crimp really hard, as much as you can, okay? And what happens is it flattens out the crimp, right? So what it does, it holds this wire from moving, okay? Now that you've done that, you're gonna take a crimp cap, what we spoke about, crimp cap, like this. And you see, open it where the opening is. While it's open like this, feed this through it. There's a hole here. So you're gonna feed your wire through the hole. Okay, and then bring it all the way to the crimp bead that you flattened, and then close it. Okay, so it's closed now. So you take your flat pliers again and just press gently, not too hard, because you could like flatten these out. Just press gently to close the crimp cap. Okay, so this is what you end up with. Okay, now that being done, I just wanted to show you that. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Now for the tutorial today, I'm going to be making a phone charm with something called a focal piece. If you have visited my website, you'll know that I am known for my bling bling pieces. People have called me the bling queen, and for a reason. I use a lot of shiny blinged pieces in my phone charms, back charms. For the purposes of today, I'm gonna make a piece with this focal. Now this is gonna be the focal piece in my phone charm. This is the back of it, okay? This is the front, okay? I love this moon, it's so pretty. Okay, so now it's a matter of aesthetic, okay? You don't have to use big pieces like this, you can use smaller ones. There's definitely a lot in the market. Again, you could get them Joann's, you could get from Michael's, even Amazon. Now, that being said, I'm gonna be using this. All right, look at that color. And now this is blue and gold. So what I did is I matched it up. Obviously, I'm using gold wire because it is gold, and gold crimp cap. Okay, you know, just to match everything together. Now, if it was silver, then you know it would be silver. So this is my focal piece. It sits here. Now I had to choose some beads, right? So I look at the piece. What is the prominent color in this? It's blue, obviously, but it has like a shimmer, a yellow shimmer to it. And then you have these stars, gold stars. So these are the beads I chose. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna use a blue. Now these are galaxy. You see the shimmer in them, like there's like a galaxy look to them, right? Like stars, right? And then a yellow, same kind of bead. It's called the galaxy bead because it has these like shimmers inside of the bead. And I thought this would be a great match for it. Now, since you're gonna make something short, I like to use, to be honest, I freehand a lot, meaning I don't sit there and count beads like most crafters, but if you like to do that, that's fine. If you're making a shorter piece, I suggest maybe 4 to 5 of each color if you want. I like to use odd numbers. I found them to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So you're not matchy. But for your beginning, I've done pieces where they were matching bead for bead on each side. Right now, I don't do that. I kind of freestyle it. But let your imagination run with it. I mean, you don't have to do what I do. You could do it any way you want. I've seen people use each bead is different from the other. But the piece comes out and it's gorgeous. Again, this is my aesthetic, what I would like and what I do. The whole purpose of this tutorial just to show you how to make one, not, you know, tell you this is what you should do as far as like colors and aesthetic. So that being said, I'm gonna go on and show you, like I probably will do, just to show you, maybe 5 of this color, just to start. Sometimes I take more or less once I see the piece being formed. Okay, so I just put, to start, 5 on each side. And then I'm gonna use something called spacers. These are 15 millimeter spacers, okay? And they have these rhinestones. They're gold and they have these rhinestones. And what I do is I kind of space them between the beads. That's why, you know, like this. So it'll be a bead, a spacer, a bead, a spacer, and so on and so forth. Again, my aesthetic. You could use anything you want. You don't have to use spacers. It's just something I like to do. And then at the end, once we reach the end, there's another part that you guys need to see. But let's just get started. I usually like to start with a spacer. Doesn't mean you have to. So this is what you feed this through the spacer, like this. And you just bring it to the end. Kind of looks like this. Okay. You could start with a bead. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, maybe I should start with it. I apologize. So I'm going to start with the yellow first. Like this. Okay. And this is what it looks like. All right. So this kind of stays out there. And then you feed spacer. Okay. So the bead sits on the spacer. You see? Okay. Now I'm just gonna go a little faster here. You get the gist of it. And then this is like that. And then I use another spacer. Sorry, put this here. And I alternate. Now, you see how this is starting to look here? Now, let me give you an idea. This is how it's starting to look. Okay. Again, this is all aesthetic, meaning it's whatever you like to do. Okay. So let me just get more spacers here. Now, once I feed this spacer right here, it's hard to do this. So it kind of looks like this so far. Now, this piece is pretty big. Okay, so it's pretty size-wise is about 3.5 to 4 inches. So now your piece is kind of gonna look like this, right? It's gonna sit like this for the phone. So you want this piece here to kind of go like this. So you got to remember how to feed it. If you want it to sit like this, you got to feed it from the top to the bottom. So you see here, there's a hole right in the back, and you feed it through. I'm sorry, I keep shaking the camera on you guys. Very hard to do this when for your limited space, and it goes through. So now this is gonna sit like this. Now it covered most of the stuff you made, so you're like, well, you don't want it to do that, right? Not right away. You want to show this a little bit. Or you could have it sit on the top of your piece. It's really entirely up to you how you want to do it. But for me, I think I'm going to add some more beads before I use this. Let me put this on here. So it's blue, spacer, yellow, spacer, blue, yellow, spacer, excuse me, yellow, I gotta get more spacers. Now, I think this is long enough to try to see if my focal piece is gonna look right. Again, you feed it through. Now, guys, I just want you to remember this is all trial and error, right? I've made plenty of pieces where these focal pieces were backwards and I had to take them apart and redo them. So don't get discouraged. This is all trial and error, okay? So now I think this looks better because it shows more of your beading here. Yes, it covers some because the way the piece is, but now you're showing it on this side. So now just remember where you ended up. So you ended up with a spacer, right? So you're gonna start with a spacer. So this is all right. So you start with a spacer because you ended with a spacer. You need to start with a spacer. What color did you use last? It was yellow, so you start with blue. Just continue that. Again, your pattern is your pattern, is your aesthetic, not my aesthetic. If you want to use different colors, use different colors. That's quite all right. If you want to use different media, because these are acrylic beads, right? You could use rubber, you could use any kind of bead you like, what we call silicone beads. You could use glass. I've seen people do that. You could use any media you like. Clay. I actually use different medias myself. And that's quite all right. It's, again, this is your piece. You make it how you want to make it. I've seen people use plastic. I've seen people use like natural bark material. Again, that's the fun of it. You can use anything you like, anything. So just go and just be creative with it. Now, again, here it is. All right, I can make it like this. You don't have to make it equal on both sides. I like to make like this side longer, so this piece sits kind of quite a little bit differently. I don't like, kind of like this, so it looks like I need to put maybe 2 or 3 more pieces here. Again, it's your piece. Do as you like with it. You might start with a piece and decide, you know what, I want to do a shorter piece today, but you know what, the inspiration takes you and it becomes a longer piece. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. So continue doing this till you feel it's done. Okay. So I need more spacers. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'll continue doing this. Excuse me for a second. But it is what it is. Like I said, you can continue doing what you're doing. All right. So blue, yellow. Here's the yellow. Sorry. Okay. So now I like to kind of hold it up or hold it like this and see how it's gonna look. I think it look okay. Yep, this is where I want it. Okay, again, doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. You don't need the same number on this side as the same number on that side. That's not how things work. Okay, actually, I might make it a little longer because the way I want this piece to sit, I want it to sit higher right here. So I might need to do a little bit more here, a little bit more. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is how things are. You just keep going. Keep trying out things. It's a trial and error, right? Don't think like I started, like when I first started, I did this. Believe me, I did not. This is, took me a while. And again, you will sometimes feel like, oh, I can't do this, or I don't want to do this. It's okay. Walk away and then come back. Because this is so rewarding when you finish a piece and be like, oh my God, I did this. Like, this is so cool. And don't feel like you have to end at the same color. You don't. Again, this is freestyling. I'm just showing you the basics on how to make one. So you do you, okay? You don't do somebody else, you do you. All right? So let's see. Now, is that long enough for me? I might put a couple more. So keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's all you. It's all what you want. And what you think is best. You might think, Myra, that's too long. Well, again, I'm just showing you the basics. So you could actually go and do this yourself and do what you like. Okay? So, all right, so I ended I think this is, let me see. Now, I have to look at the piece to see if it's, yep, that's exactly, you see how I wanted this piece a little higher because I didn't want it to sit all the way on the bottom. I just wanted it to be on the side like this. So, again, it's not matchy-matchy, right? I didn't even end up at the same color, but that's okay. That's quite all right. That's what makes these pieces unique. You make them unique to you or to the person you're making it for. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to end this piece. Now, here's your wire. Again, what are we going to do now? We're going to do in reverse. Remember, last time we put in the crimp bead first and then the crimp cap. Here you're going to do in reverse. Okay, so you're gonna take your crimp cap, and what I do is I open it up like flat like this, and I'll show you why. And then you feed the wire. Remember last time we fed it this way from the inside out. You're gonna feed it from the out in. Okay, so you go through the hole like this. Okay, and then it goes down like this. Here you go. See, it sits like that. Then you're gonna take your crimp bead. Little crimp beads that everybody loves. You'll get to love them, believe me, at one point or another. In the beginning, I did not. And you feed your wire through. Now, this is where the other tools come in. You see this tool, right? Simply because you are going to have to press this crimp bead like you did before, but you have to get in here, so you need this kind of tool. All right, so it's gonna be, and you press, and you press, and you press, okay? And then you look, is your crimp bead good? Is it flat? Is it gonna come off? And this is how you test it. Oh, it's not gonna come off, good. Now, for this, what I do, I double on everything. Just like I double on the wire, I double on the crimps. But for this tutorial, I just wanted to show you how it looks. I will double on this end with another crimp bead, okay? And you feed it through again. Okay? And you take these and you press. And then you take these pliers, okay? Kind of reminds me of a shark. And you kind of go over it again, just to make sure it's tight, okay? And it's not gonna come off. Now remember guys, you do not want to put your crimp beads, you need to give this a little bit of space between. A little bit of space. You don't want it to make it mush like this, because what happens, it gets bendy and it doesn't look right. It's not like free flowing. Okay, so you want to be a little bit, you want to be a little bit higher. Okay, like give it space to move, okay, to make it free flowing. Now once you've done your crimp beads, you're gonna take the cutters, come as close as possible to your crimp, okay? Leave here, like this. And, sorry hard. Here we go, and cut the wire. Now it's gonna look something like this, like the other end, right? Here we go. And then close your cap. Make sure you close your cap the way the crimp bead is. The crimp bead is in the direction. You're making sure your crimp bead doesn't actually in the other direction when you close your cap. So again, you press with this. Okay, and that's here. Guess what? You just made your first phone charm. Okay, now the last step, I didn't show you these before and I'm gonna show it to you now. These are called jump rings, double jump ring. Again, I like to double everything. In the beginning, when I first started making pieces, I used to use a single jump ring, right? These are called jump rings. A single jump ring is good for very light pieces, or you're connecting two things together. I like to use these double here because, again, they won't come apart and open on you and then lose your piece. So I recommend these very much. Obviously, they're a little bit more money than a single. You can use your single, but I'm gonna tell you right now, they will open up on you, especially if you have a heavy piece. Again, you feed this through these loops here. Okay, you see, like that, and you get them through. So here you go. And then you do the same thing on the other side. You take your jump ring. Again, I use double. You can use single, but make sure your piece is not heavy. Because it will open up on you and you start losing all your stuff. So excuse me. Now these jump rings are by size, right? There's 5, there's 6, there's 3, there's 4 millimeters, depending on the piece you're making. Use whatever size. I recommend the general size, which is about 3 to 4 millimeters in the beginning. They're easy to use, and you will have some struggle trying to get your crimp cap through these, but don't give up. Just keep trying. That's all that counts. Okay, so now this is your piece. This is beautiful. Now you could take a rings. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so you're gonna take something like this, key rings, right? You know what the key rings look like? These key rings. I use gold, obviously, to match with the piece. And you feed it through these here. This is why a jump ring is important. Okay, you can't literally do anything without these jump rings. You can't skip this step. This step is not skippable. All right, so now here you go. You have your phone charm, bag charm. You can use it in anything you like. Just to give you an idea, when you go to my store or you purchase from me, I usually give my customers one of these. It's a clear piece of plastic that actually fits on your phone between, let me show you. Okay, so this is my phone, right? I have a case on it. So what you would do is you take your case off, right? Like this. Sorry, I apologize. All right, and you take this piece, and you feed it through where you charge your phone, right? Like this. Put your phone back. Make sure you pull on this when you put your phone back, because it actually will move on you if you don't. Okay, so here we go. Okay, I think it got stuck. Okay, here we go. All right, so you put your phone back. Now this is sticking from the bottom, right? You take these rings right here and you hook them to this. Okay, first you hook them to each other. Ignore my phone, sorry. All right, so first of all, you take these. You hook them to each other. Or you could have one ring. You don't have to have two rings, all right? I can show you what that looks like too. And then you hook them to your phone. Or you could do this. Some people prefer one ring, some people prefer one, some people prefer two. So you could take this out and then put it on here, like this. I think personally that looks better with one ring, but it's personal preference, excuse me. Okay, so here you go. This is how your piece would look like on a phone. I'm sorry, like, there you go. How about that? Isn't that gorgeous? That's gorgeous. Again, you can make these pieces shorter, you can make them longer. I've seen people use these pieces on purses, bags, phones, anything pretty much you could hook something like this to, or it has a hole that you could hook something to. You could pretty much use these. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And next video is going to be about how to make bracelets. So I can't wait to see you guys again. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I love you, and see you. Mwah. Bye.